The Big Ten Network is proud to welcome you to the University of Oregon, UG, also known as Tracktown, USA, the mecca of track and field with deep ties to Nike, including Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight. This is Hayward Field. Gorgeous, breathtaking. It was built in 1925 and renovated 4 years ago with legendary stars like Steve Prefontaine, Raven Rogers, Ashton Eaton, and Otis Davis, to name a few. Tonight, we wrap up the 2025 Oregon Team Invitational. So who is invited to this exclusive event? Well, we've got 7 teams on the women's side, including Oregon, Texas A&M, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Wichita State, Oregon State, and Utah. On the men's side, Oregon State and Utah drop out.
See at a championship meet typically, so up to 2 athletes can enter in each event per team. Every participant's going to score points. So with 7 teams on the women's side, 14 points for first, descending down to 1 point for last. Same on the men's side, but with only 5 teams, 10 points for first, descending down to 1 point. So a little bit different than the 10-8-6, but everyone has an opportunity to score here and puts a little bit more emphasis on even those later places in the event. First race on the track since the Olympics, having that really long season and hoping to have another long season once again going into World Championships in September.
See the starting order. To put it simply, we call it the Mecca, but Hayward Field is just beyond special.
Yeah, it's a place where I was honored to compete at, and it's changed so much since then. But every single year, whether it's an NCAA championships, US championships, there's more and more history being added to this. The athletes that have competed here, Olympic medalists, and so many names etched into history here at the University of Oregon.
So here we go, 1,500 meters for the women. And delighted to bring this to you live on the Big Ten Network.
And straight away you see Freeland just getting out to the front, did a nice job of getting up there, getting him, string him out.
Notice on the upper left-hand corner of the Big Ten Network, that is the team leaders. Again, I thought Declan did
throughout the day, and we'll keep those team scores top of mind to kind of come through here. 48 seconds, Mia Barnett, the leader, a little bit quicker than they were expecting, but I think that benefits the Ducks up front. It's going to kind of thin out this field for them. For anybody to be really out of this race right now. Barnett going to take it on from
the bell lap.
And Barnett, 67 seconds there, really did start winding it up.
And they are side by side as here comes the move that you just talked about.
Yeah, Kazmierska just accelerates through. She's trying to make a really decisive move so Barnett doesn't have anything left in her. And Claudia Kazmierska, her first race since the Paris Olympics. She's going to bring it home in the women's 1500 at the Oregon Team Invitational.
To the Ducks. Remember, everybody that
talent is there. The jump that she took last year going into the Olympic finals really showed in that last lap.
French fries. So there you go. Utah getting in the top 3 along with Texas A&M. So now we'll move along to the men's 1,500 meters. Who do you have your eye on?
It's run 3:36. There's Kautra on your screen. He just really shows the trust that you have in an athlete to put him on the anchor leg. And they have a great DMR. We'll see their 800 squad a little bit later. They've got one of the deepest 400 squads that we've ever seen in history in their program currently.
Oregon loaded with superstars. They also have an incredible coaching staff.
Yeah, from Coach Schumacher coming and not quite leaving the professional ranks behind, but deciding to make his way back to the collegiate rank as a priority. Coach Selene Flanagan as well, just part of the all-star cast of who's who in college coaching.
Selene Flanagan, the New York Marathon winner, correct?
Yeah, and an incredible career as a collegiate athlete, and then made her way on into the professional ranks, moving up in distance, 10,000 all the way up to marathon, and now coming to the University of Oregon. For the top 5-6 guys in this one, they'll all be kind of in it, similar to what we saw in the women's race. If it goes to pace, they'll be in the race, and it will kind of set up for a burn-up last 500 meters or so. There's Cawthra on the outside, making a move a bit. And I think the idea for Balazs to be out front, just to take a little bit of the pace from his teammates, help drive the pace along without anybody having to do any work deep.
Declan, remind the viewers why there's 3 ducks out there here in the 1,500 meters.
Yeah, and that's because he's a rabbit. Balazs will actually drop off, so not somebody who's going to factor into the scoring at all. So when he drops off, you know, then it'll just be 2 ducks in the race, just like everybody else. Reinhardt Harrison for the Ducks, effectively leading this one. Laban Kenboy hot on his heels, and about a 60-second, 58 high lap there. So they're right on target for what they want to be, and I think this kind of, they see that time. It's not that fast for outside of lane 1 there. He just wants to have a little bit of room to move. No boxed in.
Cawthra secured a silver medal in the mile at the 2025 SEC Indoor Championships for the time.
Rogers, Alex Stint of Oklahoma State mixing up in there. He's got a 3:37 personal best, so everyone's still in this one. 300 meters left.
Going in, you had high.
And somebody who broke Oklahoma State's indoor mile record, another 3:54 guy. And it's him and move into the finish. Lucas Santora.
Fantastic move for Texas A&M. We talk a lot about Cooper Cawthra, but it's that man
in 55 seconds, moves up from 7th, playing back, biding his time, all the way into 1st, and he didn't really do much of it.
Team Invitational. You see Campos.
Texas A&M is now the reigning NCAA indoor champion. 60-meter hurdles. Welcome,
Covington. Take a look at the team scores of where we're at right now, and I think we're going to see that A&M lead really extend here. Oregon obviously scored 27 points, which is the most points you can score in one. I think that's what the Aggies are probably going to do here. So look to the Aggies to front load this, and then when you get to the 5K, that's going to see, you know, later in the day, 5K, 800, are they able to hang with what Oregon's going to be able to put down in those events?
With the 4 new teams coming in to the Big Ten, I feel like the track junkies of the world, like the Declan Murrays, were pretty fired up.
Yeah, I mean, you immediately added NCAA champs in indoor track and field for USC and the University of Oregon, and I think that's something that everybody's going to be excited about, bringing that kind of caliber of athlete and depth of athlete to the Big Ten.
All right, runners set here, section 2, 100-meter hurdles. They know the time to beat in the clubhouse, just above 14.
And Covington first to the first hurdle, already starting to power away. It's only Harmon there with her now. Covington and Harmon, the 2 Aggies, neck and neck. It's going to be Covington and Harmon at the line. Covington eases up. She gets the win.
Eugene, Oregon, it's just gorgeous.
And that's a great shot of the Hayward Tower there. We talked about it in the 750s and faster. That's where you're at that very, very elite level. Vaughn of Oklahoma State and Josh Parrish, kind of the Parrish was running in the Oregon Open last night as well, so kind of practicing for championship racing, getting a few races in the weekend. Parrish first to that first hurdle, Scott second, but now overtaking him and battering a few hurdles is Scott, but now he's getting into form. Jaqueline Scott hits the last hurdle, 13:37 unofficially. 13:30 the official time for Jaqueline Scott, so a good run for this time of year, but for hitting all of those hurdles, I think Scott's going to feel pretty good about what that time was. Didn't have the perfect start, was put under pressure at that first hurdle by Josh Parrish, but I don't think he felt too much pressure knowing that he was going to run away with this one in the end.
So well done from Scott for Texas A&M.
got off well, but Parrish of Wichita State did really well to put him under pressure. Let me see a couple clipped hurdles there, 3 in a row, then gets into his running, caught the last hurdle as well. But that's kind of like what I was talking about, Dean. As long as you're not catching the hurdle with your trail leg, you're just kind of grazing those hurdles, you're able to do it in a way where it's not slowing your momentum down.
Section 2 results with Scott at the 13-3. Parrish in second. Cyrus Ways good enough to finish third.
Yeah, being able to do that from the prior heat, you're thinking, yeah, well, they got 5 paces on it. It's Bill Balmerton, Steve Prefontaine, Raven Rogers, Ashton Eaton, and Otis Davis. So when you think about and he's not even up there, maybe yet, maybe that one's still to come.
Petition has started, Declan. 400 meters. How many times did you buckle up for 400 meters being an 800-meter specialist?
I think I'd cover a 4x4 just about every meet, but the open 4, they kind of laugh at the 800 guy coming out of blocks, but they really look down on you if you don't use blocks in the open 4. So not too often in the open, but always brought it back for 4x4.
Nice.
That
400 meters, section 1 underway for the women. 1 lap.
Lady Wright starting to make up the stagger on Sadie Millard, right in the white of Kansas State. And to the outside in lane 7, Chloe Schewel. Bit of a charge from Millard of Wichita State here. Looks like she's leading through 200 meters. As they come into the home stretch, it's Millard, but Sydney Brown on the inside for Wichita State with a bit of momentum. Shockers are 1 and 2 with 100 meters to go. Delaney Wright in third. Sadie Millard, 55.6 personal best, storming down the home stretch at Hayward Field, pulling away from everyone in this one. Huge personal best for Sadie Millard. She's going to take heat 1 of the women's 400.
Outstanding kick, but really fluid the entire 400 meters.
Yeah, we saw Wright making up that stagger on her in about the first 100 meters. And then as down the backstretch, she just kind of maintained and was able to hold. It's not that she's accelerating or anything deep. She's just holding that pace a little better than everybody else. So you're just trying to slow down slower than everyone.
A PB at Hayward, pretty special.
And that final 100 where she had about a 4-5 meter gap and just extends it the last 60-70 meters and really opens it up. Long strides, just throwing the arms forward as much as she can. And a big PB for Miller.
And that's how you get PBs. You charge all the way through and keep on going through the finish line. And well done by Sadie.
Being congratulated by Delaney Wright, who finished second in that one. It's Millard, 54.38, a little over a second personal best. Delaney Wright runs 55.93 per second. Schewel of Utah in third.
Let's take a look at
52, Clayton 53.63.
It's only fitting as that shot right there. Wade with the final push along with Wood. And then Clayton in third. We'll take a break and be back with more.
Mean if you're Oregon, but a lot of those Aggies are coming back for NCAAs.
Section 1 of 2, men's 400 meters. Runners getting set.
that
Couple deep breaths and off they go.
And Omer of Oregon out well right away. Making up the stagger a bit on Canavet. Now settling in a little bit, putting Canavet under pressure. That's Omer in the middle, the head bobble. And now starting to impose the lead a bit. Jenneru of Wichita State on his inside, making up ground here. Here comes Jenneru. And roar of the Hayward crowd. Fuad Omer trying to hold off Generu to the line. Here comes Generu. It's going to be close. And Generu's going to get him.
What a close!
Generu just able to take the energy from that crowd and power into a new lifetime best. He came into this one with a 48-0 personal best, 47-67 for Joachim Generu.
It is wild. It just seems like the final 20 yards or so have been tough, and we have seen incredible finishes here.
This time of year, the 400, you're still kind of callousing your body to the feeling of lactic acid at the end of a race. And Omer put himself out there, and you start to feel the pressure, feel the breathing from Generu. And Generu's, as he's closing in, smelling blood in the water a little bit and leans at the line, tongue out.
Oh, look at the struggle right there at the very end. I'm assuming they're looking at the video board as well. Are they while they're running?
Yeah, definitely are. I can, speaking from experience, you're definitely trying to get a peek to see where someone's at. But I think if you're doing it down the home stretch, it's usually a bad sign.
Tremendous finish there. Generu, 47-67, and a perfect lead-in. We'll check out field events. Sean Miller Jr. as we left side of the screen on Big Ten Plus.
6 feet 11 inches, so he's leading the way. He's got 3 makes, no misses so far, and he's the two. Well, we just said it was a really tight race, and they go and put out 19 points on the men's side, so really starting to extend that lead. We'll see. It'll probably take about 800 meters for Oregon to claw back at that a little bit.
Let's check in on the high jump here as we take a look at the field events.
3 athletes now over 175, but here's your leader, Cherie, and no 3/4, no misses so far. Chevalier and Masters of A&M and Wichita State, respectively, both also in the mix.
We'll be in section 2. Shahid in lane 3, Jones in lane 6, 2 Aggies, Montgomery and Dixon in lane 4 and 5, Emily Martin from Utah in lane 7, and from Wichita State, Faith Turner in lane 8.
The anxiety as you kind of load yourself into the blocks.
Women's 100 meters.
And a flinch there for Montgomery. Just when you're held in that set position for a long time, though, it tends to happen. You hear the slightest little noise and start to think, is that the gun?
Turner has that leg all wrapped up as well.
And her off Dixon out well. Montgomery with her. And Jones in the middle. Dixon and Montgomery. Cameron Dixon in 5. It's going to be Dixon.
Montgomery at 11.33. And out of Utah, Emily Martin at 11.53. Oregon will pick up some points, but we compile the results, and it's A&M, Cameron Dixon, and Jasmine Montgomery, 1-2. We'll step aside and come back with the men, 100 meters. Wichita State in lane 3 and 4. Pleasant for the Ducks in lane 5. Barron in lane 7. Campbell for Texas A&M in lane 6.
And Pleasant of Oregon.
An impressive high school career, as you talked about, for Roderick Pleasant.
And the other Duck in there. Both have run 10:26 this year. Jaleel Montgomery from Wichita State's run 10:23, so as expected in the 100, kind of lanes 4 through 6 where your attention's going to be focused.
Team score updates. Your host Oregon at 63.5. Texas A&M right there at 59. Give Kansas State credit as well with a solid 54.5. Section 2, 100 meters for the men.
Pleasant in 5, Montgomery and Campbell on either side, and a flinch. Yeah, it was Barberin in 7 that gave that little flinch, but great cards to the field. Everybody gets an opportunity to run here. Really well is Ernest Campbell. Montgomery's right there with him. Campbell and Montgomery late charge from Pleasant. And it's got to be Ernest Campbell, but Montgomery challenged him very late in this one.
Ernest Campbell with a 10:57 unofficially.
Campbell got out really well and was challenged a bit by Pleasant in the early goings, but Montgomery on Pleasant's outside was able to make a hard press late. So just great start from Montgomery. Or Campbell, I'm sorry. And Pleasant was right there with him. Just Pleasant submitting at the end of this one. I don't think anybody was expecting blazing fast times, similar to what we saw in the women's 100. When it's not really hot, you're not expecting that they're going to run incredibly fast. But still getting out here and trying to fight for some points, and Campbell's going to get 10 for the Aggies.
Section 2 results. Campbell with that 10.57. Montgomery had a 10.61, and Pleasant with a 10.66. Put them all together, and this is how it shakes out. Campbell takes home the gold in the men's 100 meters.
Yeah, and Quentin Rice took the win in that first section and ends up in second for 9 points. Blake Holland, who was second in that first section, finishes 4th. So a little bit more of a tailwind in that one. Not too much, 1.8 meters per second, but significant, and it's enough to make a little bit of a difference here. And just moments ago, while we were on break, Faith Turner of Wichita State getting to celebrate after a race. Seems like she was the only one who didn't know.
That's incredible.
And what a better place for a track athlete to do it than the Mecca of track and field.
Major points for that young man. As you said it, what a better place for a proposal. As we get you set for the 800 meters, this was your specialty, Dennis.
Wichita State, Jones and Perkins of A&M, Bachelor of Oregon State, Lahner and Meyer of K-State. And at the break, it's Parson of Wichita State that's going to be leading this one in the early stages.
Remind you the team leaders, upper left-hand corner of your Big Ten Network screen. Texas A&M leading for the men and the women.
And Parson getting out well here, pretty quick pace. Just north of 60 seconds, so I'm surprised to see it this fast for Heat 1. But Parson pressing things, Jones stalking, and Perkins on the outside of lane 1. And you can tell the pace slowed as they kind of accordion back together right at 400.
Texas A&M showing their dominance in the running events. They have won
That's
the
what I
last
do.
7 events combined for men and women since the women's 1500.
They're going to look to try and do it in the 800 as well, as Perkins is making a move on the outside. Parson still leading this one from the gun. Here come the two Aggies. Perkins charging into the front. Bachelor of Oregon State now making her move. Here goes Bachelor coming off the turn. Maya Bachelor of Oregon State. Perkins trying to hang with her. Batchelor and Perkins into the home stretch, and Jones making a late charge now. It's all Maya Batchelor.
Saw Batchelor look up at the video board and feel pretty comfortable as she cruises in.
Well, I said it was a hot pace, and it definitely was based on...
So as we start to think about second
program history.
Declan, what was your first 200-meter approach on the 800 meters?
I think it's trying to get out and position yourself well, and you want to make sure you're not giving up free time. The opportunity to get out and run a little bit fast in that first 200, you just don't want to lose the race in the first 200 is really the goal there. This one gets out well, and Miller was kind of stringing it out, but hit the brakes a little bit, so looked like things were going to string out. Blitza's just going to jump right on her outside shoulder. I think this sets up well, but it doesn't go out too fast to keep Ayildes in it. She just doesn't want too fast of a first 200. We saw that first 50 meters she wasn't able to keep with them, but then as the pace slowed as they came together, Ayildes able to mix it up.
How about the focus on the face of Blitza?
Blitza looks great on the outside, just so comfortable right now. Everything looks very relaxed and loose, and that's what you're looking for. Also mixing it up in here, Millie Wilcox of Utah.
They're really bunched up here.
Well, it's Miller, Blitza, Ayildes on the inside. There goes Martin of Utah. Kyla Martin, they came through in 60 seconds, so it's quick, but something that's within the capability of all of them. And Martin really driving it on this third 200. That's what helps for a fast time if you push pace on the third 200.
What a great shot here.
I think it's Ella Nelson of Oregon as well. Here comes Ayildes trying to make a move on the outside. She's going to do it. Shalana Ayildes of Oregon gets the win and a new personal best.
Cameras are on, and
coming from this second heat.
Let's take a look at
guard by a quick gun there. I don't think he was really set. And then with that though, we've got a pacer on the outside. They're going to try and drive along. Sometimes it's hard in an 800. People get excited and get out a little bit too fast. You might be seeing that here. They haven't really found their position yet. And if you're out too far in front, nobody's going to go with you. Looks like Cook's going to go along with the Ducks pacer. And Erickson tucked in behind him, Whitmarsh behind him. Whitmarsh has this really long, loping stride. Looks really nice, and he always seems to have something the last 200 meters. And nobody's really committed to the pacer. This is what happens. There's a big gap, so not a slow pace, but not particularly fast. Whitmarsh got clipped from behind a couple times. Someone goes down. Whitmarsh almost went down with him. But now we've got Erickson up front, as well as Farquharson. Huge surge here from Mahadi of Oklahoma State. Just a total mix-up with that fall. Kadali and Erickson seem to get out of it okay. Farquharson. Mahadi leading, Erickson second. Here comes Kadali. The 142 man on the outside, but Erickson is going to try and challenge him. Erickson right up the middle. Erickson and Kadali for the Ducks. Maddie Erickson for Oregon charging home. He's going to bring it home. 1-2 for the Ducks.
unfortunate collision there for Whitmarsh, who, fair play to him, was actually checking on the run.
Was playing catch-up to the rest of the field, and then here's the fall. It was actually Kadali that caught Whitmarsh from behind. I talked about that long loping stride. Sometimes it happens. It was the second clip, though.
Here we go.
Ayala straight to the front with pacing duties, and likely another pacer either to her outside or just sort of trying to get up to the front. We've got 12 and a half laps for the women's 5,000 at Central Oregon's Annika Thompson. She's running unattached, and saw her yesterday in the Oregon Open. going to help out with the pace, so likely going to be Thompson and Ayildiz setting the tone here. And right away, Cherubet and Legat, the two we spoke about, that are going to move up to the front and try and take advantage of the pacemakers.
Linky, delighted to be with you for our coverage here of the Oregon Team Invitational and really get an inside look at Hayward Field. So much history, 100 years it has been around in some form. The most recent renovations coming in 2021, and they were spectacular.
Monica Thompson leading the pacemaking duties. Graduated, or exhausted her eligibility at Oregon after this indoor season. She was 4th in the 3,000 and 3rd in the 5,000 at Big Ten Indoor Championships.
The men's 5,000 meters from historic Hayward Field, and they're underway.
And Birnbaum and Dornkamp on the outside going to make their way straight to the front. Masaudi tucking right in behind them. Schauppi as well. University of Oregon hosts the USA Championships in June. Sometimes they're moving there for an opportunity to run fast. Not too windy, cool.
I know because they tell me. So here was the...
You need them to tell you what you are?
Women. Yes. I trust...
Weekend for him. 7:31 in the 3rd round, and that will be his best with the foul in the final round. And take a look at the team in Hemphill there. No matter what 4 they put out there.
Wichita State in 2, Oklahoma State in 3, Utah and Oregon in 4 and 5. Unbelievable athletes on display here.
Start.
4x400 meters women's relay.
I'd expect to see Oregon really try and challenge here. If they're able to put out their top 4, then they're going to be those who have the best effort at A&M. There's Clayton. Clayton of Oregon was 3rd in that open. Hanging in well, though, is the Utes.
So much in play, though, as you get ready for the handoffs.
Just going to be really hard for Oregon is the depth that A&M has. And they really did start to extend that lead there just around the handoff. Clayton started to fade a little bit the last 15 meters, and A&M starting to put this. That's Cameron Dixon leading the way. She won the 100 earlier today in 11:27. No surprise to see her get.
Another handoff getting ready.
That's Dixon of A&M hanging on. Hall of Oregon.
Horned it on might be the understatement here.
And Scott.
In fashion. Texas A&M with the winners of the 4x400 meter relay to close it out on the women's side.
Oklahoma State rallied pretty well there in the last 2 legs. But strong close, 53 seconds. And also really impressive run, 52-second split in that.
Clinch the title. Let's see how they do here in the 4x400 meter relay.
Oregon in lane 3, Oklahoma State in 4, A&M in 5, Kansas State in 6, and Wichita State in 7. Mays, who we saw in the 100 earlier today, out strong. That was the 110 hurdles actually, and Zamzow, who was 2nd, ran 47.1. earlier today in the 400. And he's going to hand off with a strong lead. I don't think anybody's going to be catching the Aggies. It's going to be Aggies against the clock in this one.
That's how it was for the women. Same for the men.
This is Isa for A&M. Musa Isa, 46.8 personal best, but ran 47.2 just last weekend. He was on what was technically the B squad for A&M when they ran 303 without Ahmad Robinson. And here is Atib. Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Kansas State not out of it either.
And a team who won the 400. Here comes Underwood on the outside for Kansas State. Going to try and challenge it. A team going to move right on the outside immediately. So huge move from Underwood down the back stretch. Not going to be enough to hold on. A team out like a shot down the home stretch. Saved a lot there. You don't see a kick in a 400 often, but I think a team knowing that time's kind of out the window for them just said, I'm going to save it up and I'm going to give it everything I have this last 100. You don't see acceleration in a 400 often.
Just saw it there. So well said, Declan.
Nice split from Underwood, 45.61 and a 45.9 from Hateeb. As they bring it home, Hemphill for the Aggies. Coming down the home stretch and driving home. And it's all Texas A&M in the 4x4. 306, 02, 45, 77. Split for Hemphill to bring it home. Oklahoma State second in 308, 32. K-State 310, 10.
Exciting cap. Texas A&M with first place points in the 4x400, but it's your host, Oregon, Coach Schumacher's team, taking home the men's title of the Oregon Team Invitational. In time with Jerry Schumacher, the head coach for Oregon. And Coach, first of all, what a treat to showcase the amazing Hayward. Just talk about what it means to be live on the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, well, that obviously fantastic for not only the University of Oregon and Hayward Field, but just our sport in general. I definitely want to say thanks to all the teams and coaches that came out here for our team invitational. A special shout out to Pat Henry and Texas A&M with the victory on the women's side. I think it was a great day of competition, and it was fun to see all the student athletes competing hard against each other.
Coach, we don't get a lot of team races in collegiate track and field, so tell me a little bit about that inception of the idea to do this and being able to bring this spectacle from Hayward live to our viewers.
Yeah, so the team championships, team points concept. It's obviously very present, I think, at the end of the season when we're doing championship meets, but there's not a lot of it during the season, and our idea is to kind of bring more team competitions to the sport. And I got together with some of our fellow coaches and I said, hey, would you guys be interested in coming out to Hayward and doing a team meet? And they all said yes. So we decided to come up with a game plan for how to score the meet and put these events on. And obviously with the Big Ten Network following it, we thought it was a great idea. And it turned out to be a beautiful weekend of track and field. And I think everybody here really enjoyed it. So it was a great day.